Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Davis. I am a professional dog trainer, and today I'm going to be starting a series of videos called Welcome to Getting a Puppy. And this first video is all about where to get a puppy. We're going to be going over reputable breeders, backyard breeders, rescue, pet stores, pros and cons of all those things, and how you can get help to pick the right puppy for you. Okay, reputable breeders. Some of the good things about reputable breeders are that they health test their dogs, they title their dogs, they show their dogs. Those are all good things, for you as a puppy buyer because it's going to help predict the future temperament and health of your puppy. Um, they are typically a little bit more expensive than some of the other options, but you are paying for their knowledge as a breeder and the work and dedication they put in titling and showing and the expense of health testing because that's not cheap either. There's elbow x-rays, hip x-rays, genetic testing for diseases, things like that that all factor into the higher price of these puppies. Um, they are also very good at keeping in touch with you. They like to see updates of the puppies. They'll always be willing to help you in any way they can as far as questions about training or questions about the temperament of your puppy, and they'll even help you if you needed to rehome the puppy. Usually they get it back. Usually it's in the contract that you sign when you buy the puppy from them that they'll get it back and then they can rehome it to somebody appropriate. Maybe it's just not a good fit for you. There's nothing to be ashamed of. There are definitely dogs that aren't for everybody. But reputable breeders are great because they give you lifetime support of the puppy throughout its life. All right, next let's talk about backyard breeders. These are the breeders that are selling their dogs on Craigslist or on the side of the road or at a fair, places like that. They don't do any kind of application or screening process. They just basically will give the dog to whoever has the money. They also don't do health testing or showing or anything like that. Definitely not titling. They're just a pet that they're looking to breed and make some quick bucks off of. Not saying you can't get a good dog from a backyard breeder because it can happen. You just don't have as good of a chance as like getting a dog from a reputable breeder. So the pros for a backyard breeder are basically that the dog is going to be cheap, most likely, unless you get a designer breed, and it's going to be easy to find. The cons are going to be that there is no health testing or rhyme or reason behind the breeding at all, and there's definitely not going to be any kind of lifetime support from the breeder. In fact, most of them are probably going to block you if you ask too many questions. Let's talk about rescues now. Rescues can be, a bit of a sensitive subject for some people. It pulls at your heartstrings, and they have really good commercials and things like that. But realistically, a lot of them do import dogs from other areas and won't take in dogs locally that need help just because they don't have the room. But they do screening process or application process to make sure the dogs are going to a good home. They typically give you, for the most part, lifetime support. If something ever happened in your life or you need to return the dog, a lot of them will take them back. Um, they sometimes will include training, or vouchers for neutering and things like that. They're typically up to date on all their shots and they're healthy when you get them. But some of the downsides are, there are no health guarantees or health testing or anything like that. A lot of times you don't even know the parents, and the parents could be really good dogs or they could be really horrible dogs. And without knowing that kind of thing, you don't really know how the puppy's going to end up developing. Like, are they going to be, a fearful dog, or are they going to be really outgoing and confident? Are they going to be dog aggressive? Are they going to be people aggressive? Those are all things that, from a reputable breeder, you could kind of get a good indication of what you're going to expect from that dog. But from a rescue, there's none of that stuff. So it's a little bit harder to, kind of figure out what you're going to get. Okay, let's talk about pet stores. And I'm not talking like places like PetSmart and Petco and places like that where, it's mostly supplies or they hold adoption events there. Those are great. I'm talking places like Petland, which you'd find at the mall or somewhere like that. Um, they typically get their dogs all from puppy mills, so there's not going to be any health testing or anything. They're just two purebred dogs or even designer dogs now. You'll see them at pet stores, but they do an application, but it's not going to be as thorough as like a rescue or reputable breeder would be. It's basically just making sure you can have a dog where you live, and then you have to have the money, which is typically more expensive than all of the other places. Another thing to add about pet stores, since the dogs are mainly from puppy mills, there's not going to be genetic testing or anything like that, so their health is kind of in question. I know the one we had from there when I was a kid, he definitely had a lot of health problems and hip dysplasia on top of it all. But they are also notoriously difficult to potty train, mainly because they live in a box for weeks, if not months of their lives. Their natural instinct is to not pee and poop where they eat and sleep, and basically they're forced to do that for the beginning part of their life. So that kind of habit is difficult to break for a lot of people. All right, so in conclusion, we're going to go over the pros and cons of all these things again. Um, the reputable breeder pros are going to be, there's health testing, there's temperament testing, there's guarantees, there's application process. They really want to fit the right dog with the right owner. Some of the cons are that they're more expensive and they're harder to find. The backyard breeder is kind of the opposite. They are easy to find and inexpensive if you want to look at those as the pros, but the cons are a lot more. There's no health testing, there's no temperament testing, there's no guarantees, no lifetime support. For rescues, pros, it makes you feel good to help a dog in need. They do application process and screening and stuff like that, and they try their best to match you with the right dog. It just doesn't always happen. But the cons are also that they import dogs from all over, and they typically can't help local dogs that are in need. The pet store, that one is pretty much all cons. They're expensive. There's no health testing. They come from puppy mills. They're not going to give you any kind of guarantees like that for more than, like a week or something silly like that. And they're notoriously difficult to potty train. Please like and subscribe and comment down below if you have any questions or anything about what we went over in this video. And please remember that, if you're having a hard time deciding where to get a dog or, how to pick the right one for you that match your lifestyle, please reach out to a local trainer. It doesn't have to be me, but there's plenty of local trainers in your area that would be more than willing to help you. Have a good one.